Red Wolves Coaches Show, presented by Arkansas Blue Cross Blue Shield, sponsored by Arkansas Children's Hospital, Harvest Bank, Halsey Thrasher Harpo Real Estate Group, Southern Roofing and Renovations, St. Bernard's Healthcare, and Stevens Incorporated.
It was a winning start to the 2021 season on Saturday as the Red Wolves hosted the Bears of Central Arkansas at Centennial Bank Stadium. A-State winning it over UCA by the final count of 40-21. And Coach, good to finally be able to coach a football game. You were hired all the way back on December the 12th, and good to not only get out there finally, but to get that first win.
Well, it's great to get out there and be in front of our great fans and the electricity that you could feel. Obviously, the game didn't start the way we wanted to. We created a lot of natural adversities for ourselves throughout the course of the first half. But our kids showed some resiliency, and I think we'll build upon that second half as we move forward. So I was very proud of them in the second half effort with everything that they gave. But we experienced everything. We didn't handle critical situations very well. We turned the football over, but I thought our defense kept us in the game, and then we were able to come through in the second half.
Let's go ahead and look at some of the highlights from this one. It was a warm night, 89 degrees at kickoff, and really just one big play that your defense gave up in the first half. You saw the 66-yard touchdown. Blake Groupie able to get your team's first points of the night here, the field goal coming from 38 yards out, one of two first-half field goals for Groupie.
Well, it gets back to we didn't do a very good job in the red area, but here you see Alan Lamar going in for a touchdown and inside zone. And that's what it's all about, is scoring touchdowns in the red area, not kicking field goals. And you know, even though Blake Groupie's a good player, we want to limit how many times he's on the field. And then here you see Lane Hatcher coming in, and we have a play action pass, and he scrambles, leaves the pocket, does a great job of keeping high vision, and obviously finds Corey Rucker, who had a great second half for us.
Yeah, Lane Hatcher, we'll talk about him a lot, but just a perfect night for him. 12 of 12 off the bench, 150 yards, 4 touchdowns. Only the 7th player in the FBS since 2000 to throw at least 12 balls and have a 100% completion rate. UCA is a good football team, and they weren't going away last night.
Well, very talented football team, and we knew that coming in, and they have a 3-year starter at quarterback, and then obviously the receivers, and then this is a man coverage, and we get Corey matched up on an outside linebacker, and we want to take advantage of that. And then again, Lane was very efficient and very accurate with all of his throws. And then now we start to become opportunistic. Sammy Johnson high points the ball, gets an interception here, finds the sideline. Now it's one thing to create the turnover. Now what do you do with that? And we were able to turn it into points immediately.
Yeah, the 33-yard return here by Sammy Johnson. Then the very next play, one of 3 touchdown catches on the night. Just a perfect throw and catch from Lane Hatcher to Corey Rucker. Rucker, 9 catches for 138 and 3 touchdowns. Your team in full control at this point. You see the final minutes here, and again, UCA getting this last score, but your team able to get one more touchdown as Valence Hunt, the TCU transfer, gets in the end zone.
He had a very productive night, and that's the one thing, is we were able to match their score. So in the second half, we were able to maintain the momentum of the game.
Again, A-State wins it by the final score of 40-21 over UCA. More to come on the Red Wolves Coaches Show right after this. And we welcome you back into the Red Wolves Coaches Show. A-State coming off that 40-21 Week 1 victory over Central Arkansas at Centennial Bank Stadium last night. And we talked about obviously the big highlights there in the second half. There were some other key moments in this ball game as well. And one guy we were looking forward to seeing for the first time was Alan Lamar, the former first-team All-Ivy League selection. He finishes with 18 carries for 67 yards and a touchdown.
It was great to get Alan back on the field. He's an individual, as we know, did not go through spring, had the Achilles injury, and has battled back. So to be able to get him back, and I thought all of our running backs ran the ball very, very effectively and very hard. And this is a gap scheme play, Allen does a great job of showing vision. You should see some speed, and it was a 33-yard that really kind of sparked us and got our run game going.
Another guy we were really looking forward to seeing in action for the first time was Valence Hunt. You mentioned he's a TCU transfer. He finished with 6 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. And here's one of those 6 catches right here.
Well, he made some big plays for us in the game, flip field position for us, had some critical third down catches, and then we saw the run after the catch as well, and then a big touchdown at the end of the game as well.
Another young man that I know you certainly think a lot of already is Blake Grupe. Here's a guy who's been the place kicker the last couple of years. Now, he missed his first field goal try from 47 last night, but bounced right back, got a couple of field goals later in the first half from 38 and 42.
Well, 47-yard field goals are very difficult, but we expect him to make those because that's how talented he is. But, he's been a model of consistency ever since we've come here, and we're going to need more of him. And just if he can own the range up to about 45 yards, that's what we need.
And special teams as a whole were pretty solid last night. Tristan Matson with 4 touchbacks on kickoffs. I know you were happy to see that. Ryan Hansen also had a good night in the punt game. He downed 3 of his 5 punts inside the 20-yard line.
I thought our specialists performed very well. And, some of them were in some very trying situations. Right here is our punt team that you see. And Jeff Foreman, wide receiver, is a gunner on the punt team, comes down and makes a great play for us. And everything in football is about hidden yardage. And we talk about complementary football, all 3 phases. But hidden yardage is really the yardage you don't see that shows up in special teams. And if you look at the course of a game, more yardage takes place on special teams than offense or defense combined. So we have to own special teams. We invest a lot. We're going to be challenged here in the upcoming weeks, but I thought it was a great start in terms of the season for our overall special teams performance.
Again, A-State wins at 40-21 over UCA. We'll take one final look back at the Week 1 win when we come back on the Red Wolves Coaches Show. And we welcome you back into the Red Wolves Coaches Show. Again, A-State defeating UCA last night at Centennial Bank Stadium by the final score of 40-21. As we take a look at some final numbers from this one, your team ends up outgaining UCA 513 to 338, nearly 300 of those yards, Coach, coming in the second half. And really, the ground game got going in the second half. I know you challenged the offensive line at one point, had 40 yards rushing at halftime, finished with 194 on the ground for the game.
We were able to control the line of scrimmage, and that was absolutely critical, but not only control the line of scrimmage, but also the time of possession as well. And we were able to have some big splash, big momentum plays in there as well. But again, anytime you can control the line of scrimmage, control the time of possession, then I think the other critical factor was the overall third downs. We were 7 out of 15. We were able to hold them to 1 out of 12 in third down conversions, so we got off the field defensively.
And you had the fumble in the first quarter, but able to eventually win the turnover battle with the 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter.
At the end of the day, all the things that we talk about, winning the turnover battle, the other thing is win the fourth quarter. And that's been a point of emphasis for us ever since we arrived. We were able to do that 20-7, so a lot of positive things to build upon.
And again, just the game for Lane Hatcher, what he did coming in relief last night, going 12 for 12 for 150 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just the way he responded last night was very impressive.
Very impressive. And again, you wouldn't expect anything more than that from Lane Hatcher. He's a true competitor. He's always prepared. He's ready to go. And we needed him. Our football team needed that spark, and he provided that for us.
And by the way, Lane Hatcher now with 50 touchdown passes in his career. That's 3rd most all time at Arkansas State. Defensively, we saw some good things. Kavon Bennett, the transfer defensive end from Tennessee, had a nice debut. He had 4 tackles, but 3 of those were for a loss, also had a sack.
Well, I thought we played well up front, and that's what it's going to take for us to be successful on defense. We still gave up a couple catastrophic plays that we can't do. We have to eliminate the big plays. But I thought our defense obviously gave us an opportunity in the first half, and then we became opportunistic in the second half.
And again, it was a big challenge last night for your defense against a good UCA offense, and I thought your young secondary had some really good moments.
Well, we knew that they were going to be attacked, so to speak, that they were going to throw deep balls, they were going to challenge us. So we expected that, and I thought that they performed very well. Obviously, things we need to do to get better in a hurry, and that's the thing now is we know a little bit more about our team, but now all of our opponents are going to know more about our team as well as we put our football identity on video.
And we put a lid on this Week 1 win over UCA. A final word from Coach Jones.
Well, again, we're 1-0. And that's where we needed to be. We're right where we need to be. But most growth occurs in a season from game 1 to game 2, and we really have to grow exponentially in everything that we do. But I was really proud of our players. They hung together. They were excited after the win, which they should be, but they also know there's a lot of improving to do. But the way we own critical situations in the second half, that's great to build upon.
Again, A-State now 1-0 after the win last night over UCA. Again, the final score 40-21. And, you know, again, you get some of the jitters out of the way. Over 50 newcomers, there were going to be some jitters last night.
Well, I thought we had a little bit of some performance anxiety. I could see that at the hotel. And now hopefully they've been through that. They know there's no unexpectedness in terms of how we prepare for games, all that. So again, I thought the second half was more of who we were. The first half was not us. And but again, sometimes you need to go through that to see how your team will handle adversity and persevere, and I thought we handled it very well.
More to come on the Red Wolves Coaches Show right after this. And we welcome you back into the Red Wolves Coaches Show. It was a special weekend on the Arkansas State campus as the Letterman's Club hosted their annual banquet on Friday night, and 3 of the inductees were former A-State football players, Demario Davis, Ryan Applin, and Joe Slayton. Here's Corey Keller with more.
I'm joined with an A-State favorite, Ryan Applin. The people of Jonesboro love them some Ryan Applin. What does it mean for you to come back and coach at your alma mater?
A lot. This place has a really special place in my heart. You know, got to spend 5 wonderful years here, and the people were incredible, and this is kind of where it all started for me, you know, and it's been tremendous to come back. It's been amazing to see all the changes, not only with the stadium, but the town. I mean, we have a hotel on campus, which is crazy, but it's just, it's incredible. You know, words really can't describe what it's like to be back and to put the logo back on and represent this university.
What does it mean to you to get inducted into the A-State Hall of Honor tonight?
It means the world to me. You know, growing up as a kid, you have dreams of playing for, you know, your team growing up and, you know, winning the Heisman or whatever it is. But, you know, this is a moment I never expected. Nothing that, you know, wanted to always be an All-American. And I remember as a kid running around my house chanting that, but to be inducted is very surreal for me and would not be possible without my teammates.
I'm joined by A-State great Demario Davis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
The 2011 championship team changed the trajectory for A-State football. What was it like to be a part of that team, and how has it influenced your football career?
Oh man, that was an amazing group. I remember when we came in, it was about 25 guys in that recruiting class, and 18 of us graduated together, and we're still friends to this day. And so, for whatever reason, just all the right pieces fell in place, and I don't think any of us knew the magnitude of what was happening at the time. We just knew we wanted to win a conference championship and go to a bowl game, and we found a way to do it. You don't know that type of foundation is being set and the trajectory is changing in that way, but to be able to be here a decade later and look back, and it's just, and so it was the coaches, it was the players, it was the entire organization, it was the fan base that witnessed it. It was an amazing time, and now, you know, the program is going to even new heights, and we want to see that our floor should be, you know, our ceiling should be their floor, and that's what's exciting.
Tonight, you are getting inducted into the A-State Hall of Honor. What does it mean to you as a former Red Wolf?
It's a tremendous honor and a blessing. I'm humbled and I'm grateful, and it's not just a celebration, for me, but it's a celebration for all the teammates I played with, for all my coaches, for all the people who poured into me and supported, the academic counselors, and all the people, the fans, everybody that was a part of the process, because, we get to enjoy this together. And so I think that's what's most amazing about it.
I'm joined with Joe Slayton. You are one of the best punters in A-State's history. How are you so successful?
There's no technical answer to that. It's just do your job every day. I had good coaches, and I had a lot of drive personally. So I had a lot of support, and I just worked at it hard. It just takes a lot of hard work. There are no shortcuts.
What does it mean to be chosen for the A-State Hall of Honor?
I have mixed emotions. It's a team sport, so to get an individual award is kind of weird. But to be a punter and to get an award, we're not used to that. But it means so much. I'm so humbled through this, but I'm extremely honored. So proud.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations once again to Ryan Applin, Demario Davis, and Joe Slayton. Thanks for Corey Keller doing that segment for us. We're going to take one final timeout, be back to look ahead to next week's game against Memphis when we wrap things up on the Red Wolves Coaches Show right after this. And we welcome you back one more time to the Red Wolves Coaches Show. As we wrap things up, it's time to take a look ahead as A-State gets set now to take on the Memphis Tigers. Coming up on Saturday night, 6 o'clock kick at Centennial Bank Stadium. Cross River rivalry renewed. And Coach, this is your first introduction to this rivalry.
Looking forward to it. I've heard so many great things about it, and to be playing a rivalry game in Centennial Bank Stadium, we need everyone to come out there and support this football team and really create a competitive home field advantage for us. And it's going to take everything that we have and more. We have to make that big jump from week 1 to week 2 in terms of improvements in all 3 phases. But I know this is something that our players are going to be looking forward to.
And this is a Memphis team that's coming off a 42-17 victory over Nichols in week 1. But look, this is one of the better teams. You look over the course of the last 5 years or so in the entire group of 5.
Well, you look in the AAC conference in the group of 5, and obviously Memphis has been up there for a number of years. So they have the tradition. Their players know how to win. And so again, I know our team's going to be ready. And again, it's just taking that next step, the next level of hierarchy in terms of developing our team and our program. But we got to focus. We have to have a great week of practice. And they have so much speed on offense and defense, and then they have a very good special teams game as well in terms of returners and just overall speed in their coverage team. So we're going to have to do a great job.
And look, you and I talked about it going into the game this past week, back-to-back home games to begin the season. First time that's happened at A-State since 1987. So you get the win over UCA. You need a big crowd for this game coming up Saturday at Centennial Bank Stadium.
Well, again, now when you see fans in the stands, and if you see really the dynamics of college football right now, you see all kinds of crazy scores right now, and I do think that's a byproduct of fans in the stands. How are you able to generate momentum? And we have to have a lot of momentum and energy in moving forward in the stadium Saturday night.
Again, kickoff at 6 o'clock at Centennial Bank Stadium this coming Saturday as A-State takes on Memphis. Our coverage on the radio side starts at 4 o'clock on the EAB Red Wolf Sports Network from Learfield. That's presented by Arkansas Blue Cross and Blue Shield. You can also see that game over on ESPN+. But we want to see you there. A-State and Memphis coming up on Saturday. And look, it was a fun week last week. We saw the energy, and look, the House of Hows student section, you got that going last night. They were good last night.
They were good. I thought the environment, obviously the band is spectacular. Our fans were great, and they supported our football team, and they were there right to the end of the game, which was great to see as well.
For Coach Jones and everyone that's been a part of this one, I'm Matt Stoltz. Good night, everybody.
The Redwoods Coaches Show, presented by Arkansas Blue Cross Blue Shield, sponsored by Arkansas Children's Hospital, Harvest Bank, Halsey Thrasher Harpo Real Estate Group, Southern Roofing and Renovations, St. Bernard's Healthcare, and Stevens Incorporated.
This has been a presentation from Learfield,